Hello everyone, I'm Brippy1322 and in this video we're going to be looking at all of the drip feed vehicles for the Cayo Perico Heist DLC, and that basically means that these are all the vehicles that were added to the game with their DLC but have been held back and are going to be released in a drip feed fashion once a week every Thursday over the next 3 or 4 months. There's 11 vehicles in the drip feed this time. There were 9 vehicles released as part of the DLC, so the majority held back. And they're on 3 distinct websites. So the way that this works is that the order that you're seeing here and the order that you will see is the order that the cars will be released for their specific website. So we got 5 vehicles that are going to be on Southern San Andreas Super Autos. We've got 1 vehicle only that's going to be on Legendary Motorsport. And then we've got another 5 vehicles that are going to be on Warstock Cash and Carry website. I know there's only 4 there, but I'll explain about that. So this means that, say for example, for Southern San Andreas Super Autos, we're going to get the 2 carts at the front before we get these 3 vehicles next. So the last vehicle that we get is going to be this one. This one will always come before this one, but they can interchange which vehicle they release every week for each website. So for example, this Thursday they might release this, and then the next Thursday they'll decide to release something from the Warstock website, which would be this. So even though we have an idea of what they're going to release next in terms of the website specifically, so you always know that left hand side is going to be released first for each website, we don't know exactly when they choose to release certain things from each website, so they can skip between the sites. So let's get into the vehicles. So first up, we've got the Veto Classic and Veto Modern. Now these are 2 carts and they are in the sports class for some reason. We've got the Veto Classic, which is going to be free for everybody who participated in the Heist Challenge a few weeks ago. That will be free, and if you don't get it for free, it will set you back $895,000 in-game. The Veto Modern, which might come at the same time, they might end up being released at the same week, but more likely this one's going to come next, the week after. This will set you back an extra $100K for $995,000, so just under $1 million for both of these carts. Like I said, in the sports class, whether they're going to release some sort of different game mode that will utilize kart races or something, I don't know. But for now, that's what we're going to get, and that's what it will set you back. Neither of these carts have ABS, by the way, so the when you go to brake in them, they are going to lock up quite badly, so you're going to have to be careful about that. But those are the first 2 vehicles that we're going to get from the Southern San Andreas Super Autos site. The next vehicle after those 2 is going to be the Weevil. Now the Weevil is in the compacts class and it will set you back $870,000. The trade price for it is $652,000. I believe the trade price for all of these vehicles and the vehicles that we got today are unlocked by completing the Cayo Perico Heist. And this vehicle has crazy levels of camber. So when you lower the suspension, as we've been seeing with a few cars recently, you can put some crazy camber on the wheels. It also has pretty crazy levels of body roll, and both of those put together mean that the wheels somehow clip through the body. We'll see that when we test it, but it might be one of those cases of it's kind of not being done very well. But yeah, we'll also see in the testing whether having the camber on it is going to make it quicker or make it slower, because we've seen instances of both in the past. Obviously, all of these vehicles will be tested on the day that they release. I'm not going to be doing any early lap time or top speed testing, but make sure you subscribe to the channel, make sure you got notifications on, all that kind of stuff, if you want to find out how quick these cars are and where they rank in the classes. So next up, we've got the Slamtruck. This is in the utility vehicles class, so a brand new vehicle in the utility class. $1.3 million this will cost you, no trade price on this one. As you can see at the back, it's got sort of space to put another car. I don't know how well that's going to work. It's kind of like a sort of tow truck-esque kind of thing as well. But obviously the real tow trucks are notoriously They used to be available in GT Online, but then they broke the game, so they removed them. So yeah, the Slamtruck, it's an interesting one. I doubt that this will be raceable in utility vehicle races, but you never know. And then finally for the Southern San Andreas Super Autos site, so this could be in 5 weeks time, or it could be in 11 weeks time. It might be the last thing that we get out of all of them, or they might just release all of the Southern San Andreas Super Autos cars first and then move on to the other websites, is the Brioso 300. So a sort of more classic version of the Brioso, very similar to the classic Brioso from the Project Homecoming server, the 5M server. Interestingly, they've been sort of adding vehicles that we've been seeing over their community-created mods of sort of been getting added to the main game GTA. This is also in the compact class, and it also has the camber with the lower suspension, will camber out the tyres. This will set you back $610,000, or if you get the trade price, $457,000. So still a pretty penny for some of these vehicles, or a lot of them. None of them under $500,000, let's put it that way. So these are the 5 vehicles from the Southern San Andreas Super Autos site. Left to right is their release order. You've seen the prices, but again, like I said, they could intersperse vehicles from different sites. Speaking of different sites, there's only one vehicle from the Legendary Motorsport website, and it's not a supercar, even if you think it might look like one. This is the Grotti Itali RSX. So we've got the Itali GTO, which is kind of joint top of the sports class at the minute in terms of lap time and top speed, sort of an overall picture with the Pariah. And now we've got the Itali RSX, which it's kind of crazy, the cost of this thing. It potentially might break the sports class. It's got advanced handling flags like the Itali GTO, so it's going to be a bit of a bouncy mess. And it's quick. Based on all of the stuff that's in the handling files, this might be an incredibly quick sports car that probably should be in supers, kind of like the GTO really. But the catch is that it's going to set you back $3.5 million, which is more expensive than some of the open wheel cars, of which we have no new vehicles for the open wheels or supers class. This is going to be the new most expensive sport class car in the game, taking away the crown from the Itali GTO. And if it becomes the new number one, you're going to have to shell out that if you want to be competitive in sports class races. It's a classic Rockstar move. The trade price for this is not that much better, $2.6 million. So even if you unlock the trade price, it's still going to be bloody expensive. But yeah, it does have an active spoiler on the back. So there are spoiler modifications for this car, but they aren't going to actually have any impact on performance. You don't need a spoiler. Very similar to the X80 Proto in that respect. The X80 Proto has the flaps on the back that act as a spoiler. You don't need the extra spoiler options for that. So yeah, we'll obviously see what kind of speed it does when it's released. We don't know exactly when it's going to be released because it's the only vehicle from the Legendary Motorsport website. They could literally choose to put this in at any point over the next 11 weeks. It could be the first thing that we see. They could, put it after the Brioso 300. It might be the very last vehicle that we see. They can just put this in anywhere because there's no other vehicles from the Legendary Motorsport website, which is kind of strange. It's strange to have a DLC without a supercar, and now without an open wheel edition as well, since they were released. So yeah, sports class, just like the karts, $3.5 million, unbelievable. We'll see what it's like with lap time and top speed when it's released. But yeah, it could be one of those where it uses the curb boosts and boosts to quite a significant top speed in the city at least. So we'll see when it's released. As I said, make sure you're subscribed and all that kind of stuff for the lap time and top speed testing videos when they come. On to the final website, Warstock. This is where all the sort of military vehicles are. Chances are a lot of these, apart from the Slamtruck, which I'm not sure about, but maybe all of these are probably usable in regular races. Chances of these being usable in regular races, some maybe not. We'll see. This is almost like the leftovers from the heist. You know, the vehicles that you see during the Cayo Perico heist, that you can even drive, you know, during the heist for some of them, that they didn't decide to release immediately on day one. So first up, we've got the Manchez Scout. Obviously the motorcycles class, this will set you back 225,000, so pretty cheap. Which it always kind of frustrates me a little bit that they don't just use old vehicles. Like, what was the problem with utilizing the Manchez in the heist? You know, we've got such a wide variety and wide selection of vehicles in the game now, but they feel like they need to add basically the same vehicle again and just give it a different name. So yeah, Manchez Scout for the motorcycles class. It's not going to be beating the Hakucho Drag or the Shitaro for races anytime soon anyway. Next up is the Vetir. This is in the military vehicles class, so it's almost certainly not going to be usable in races unless they put it into sort of usable for off-road races or something. This will set you back $1.63 million, or if you unlock the trade price, $1.2 million. I'm not sure to the capacity of this. This might be quite unique in that you can get people in the back to sit there. But apart from that, yeah, it's kind of one of those sort of stock standard barracks style vehicles. I'm not sure whether you'll be able to put it in a garage or whether it'll be Pegasus. You know, it's fairly hefty, but we'll see when it releases. Again, the Manchez will be the first thing to release on Warstock, then it'll be the Vetir. After the Vetir, maybe after we've had some Southern San Andreas cars or something, it will be the Squaddie. Again, another vehicle that is usable during the heist. You can actually get in it and drive it. This is in the SUVs class, surprisingly, which is kind of strange. $1.13 million for this. It's probably not going to be doing anything in the SUVs class for races. I can't see this beating the Tauros or anything like that. But maybe the funnel actually works so that you can, go submerge the vehicle a little bit. We'll see. But yeah, the Squaddie for the SUVs class, 1.13 million. Next up would be, and I don't have it to show you, the Weaponized Dinghy. So it's basically a dinghy that has a gun on it. That is the Weaponized Dinghy. It's obviously in the boat class. Probably not going to be raceable in boat races because, it's got a gun on it. $1.8 million for the Weaponized Dinghy. That's probably going to feel like the Weaponized Tamper and all those other kind of vehicles that get quickly forgotten about. And finally, the last vehicle that we'll get from the Warstock website is the Verus. It's in the off-roads class, and it will only set you back $192,000. It's the cheapest vehicle from the DLC. It stands a chance of being the last vehicle that we get. Obviously, the last vehicle that we get from this DLC is either going to be the Verus, the Brioso 300, or potentially the Itali RSX. Those are the only three vehicles that could be the last vehicle that we get, just depending on how they divvy up the order between the websites. So yeah, not a lot to say about that. Probably not going to be that quick. Certainly, not going to be on vagrant pace or anything for the off-road vehicles class when it comes to races. And that's your lot. Apart from the Weaponized Dinghy, which we don't actually have to showcase, those are all the vehicles. 5 vehicles on Warstock, 5 vehicles on Southern San Andreas Super Autos, and 1 single vehicle on Legendary Motorsport. No supercars, no open wheel cars, no coupes. Can you believe it? No coupe, no new coupe added. I can't believe that they wouldn't add a coupe. Hasn't seen a new vehicle since 2015. But yeah, when it comes to regular vehicles, there's not an awful lot. No new muscle cars, no new sports classics. We've got 2 new compacts. Well, it'll be interesting to see how those 2 do in comparison to the club. Can't see them beating it, to be honest. And obviously the karts are an interesting new addition. But putting them in the sports class, I'm not sure why they're not put in open wheels. Just, they're going to be useless wherever they are, probably. They're not going to have that much speed. So yeah, in terms of regular vehicles, there's not an awful lot. Probably, obviously, the Itali RSX is the biggest draw. We'll have to see when they release that. But yeah, those are the vehicles that you're going to be waiting the next 3 months, 4 months to get. They do release them every Thursday normally, and obviously my testing videos will go up whenever, as soon as they release a vehicle on a Thursday, I'll take it around the lap, do the top speed testing as well, post them to YouTube members and Patreon supporters, make the video, and you'll get the video for lap times and top speeds as soon as possible. Sometimes they might miss a week, so they might not release a car 1 week. Sometimes they might release 2 cars in the same week, but this is the release order. You've seen all the prices. These are all the cars. And now you know what's to come. You can prepare accordingly. So yeah, hopefully this has been a helpful video for you guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and thanks for the support as always. I will be doing my best when these vehicles are released every Thursday to bring you all the information as quickly as possible and tell you what the best cars are and the quickest cars, as I always do. Like I said, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications on and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, and feel free to become a YouTube member or a Patreon supporter if you want lap times early. But yeah, thank you guys so much for all the support. I really, really do appreciate it. And I'll see you in a future video soon.